welcome to Relish Books. Today I'm just sharing what I'm reading right now, what I'll be reading next, basically my latest book stack. So the main thing that I'm really focusing right now, I usually try to have like a main big book that I'm reading and then a bunch of other stuff on the side. But the main thing I'm focusing on reading right now is The Portrait of a Lady by Henry James. I pretty recently read and reviewed The Turn of the Screw novella, which I didn't like very much at all. It felt almost, if I'm remembering right, it's not super memorable to me. It felt almost sloppy in the style in some ways, and something that I'm noticing already about this one is that this one at least is not that way. It's much more cohesive and put together. I think because it's so long, he's definitely taking his time, and you could argue that there's a lot of maybe unnecessary embellishment. It's very wordy, but that's just the style of older novels, is just to have a very dense word count, like, pretty much any classic author from this era particularly, and writing about this time period. It's very, very dense, very rich in language, and I do really enjoy that. So far, I don't love any of the characters. I'm not, maybe almost a third, I guess, of the way through. I don't love any of the characters, but it has been interesting to me. It has held my attention pretty well. So I'm really gonna try to get through it. I feel like this is a much better book to judge Henry James as an author by than just The Turn of the Screw, even though that's also very famous. So anyway, that's my big main read right now. And then I've been trying to check out some other mystery writers, kind of classic mystery writers, so like older mystery novels by people that I've never read before. So this is one that was just recommended. I knew nothing about it, never heard of her or any of her books, but Dorothy L. Sayers' Whose Body? And this is a Lord Peter Wimsey is her like detective character. Yeah, it's kind of your basic detective story. The writing's not bad. It's not great. Also about a third of the way through this one. And I feel like I thought I had read that this was the first one in the series. Maybe it is, but reading it, I don't get the feeling that it is. I feel like these are already established characters that you've already been through adventures with. I feel like there have been references to other adventures. Maybe that's just, telling the reader that, hey, these guys have been doing this for a while. Because like on the back, it lists this one as the first, so I don't know. I should look into that more if I care enough. Again, I'm not loving it. The case is like interesting enough, but I really don't like Lord Peter Wimsey himself. Would noble Englishmen of this time period really, what's the word? He uses like shortened words for everything. Like he'll leave off there's a word for it, but it's not escaping my mind at the moment. He uses these abbreviated words for everything. Almost like he's talking slang all the time. Like I don't even know how to describe it. Anyway, it's annoying, and it doesn't feel very real to me. I'm like, he's speaking so overly and purposefully casual and unrefined, almost like a balancing out of his rank or something like that. But I find it very annoying, and it feels unreal. If I'm actually trying to hear it in my mind as these characters talking, I can't imagine a person actually talking the way he does. It doesn't work for me. But maybe if, I was hearing it in the proper accent and everything, it would. I don't know. But anyway, haven't liked his character so far. And then I haven't started this one yet. Obviously, I know the author. I'm not sure if I've ever read a book of his or not before. I feel like maybe I have one. But Ian Fleming, a well-known name, obviously. And this is From Russia with Love. Looks like a short little mystery book. I'm excited to read that one. I'm trying to put it off till I finish this other one, but I don't know if I will. So there's that. And then probably I'm going to wait till I finish The Portrait of a Lady. I'm not sure. It depends on how well I'm doing with that. If I'm getting through it and I feel confident that I'm not going to lose my pace with it if I start another kind of classic. I might start it at the same time. Otherwise, I'm planning to wait till I finish. But I am going to read Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury. This is the only copy that the library had in this collection of a bunch of other of his works, which is never how I would prefer to read a novel. I would like to have just it to be able to measure my progress. And it also, if you're reading it in here, in something like this, obviously the print's small and everything, it feels like your progress is so much slower when you're reading a novel out of a big collection like this, is how I feel. But yes, Sound and the Fury, it's been on my list for a long time. Put it off because, as I've mentioned lots of times before, the one Faulkner novel that I've read so far, As I Lay Dying, I hated. It's one of my least favorite novels that I've ever read in my life for a lot of reasons. Not just that I really disliked his style, which I did, but also kind of everything the book was saying. I think it had some good points for consideration, some good things to think about and deal with, but if you really, if you purposely approach it that way, because if you just read it, it's a miserable read, and in my opinion, I know there's tons of fans out there, no disrespect to them, but yeah, I feel like his style is ridiculously overdone. I feel like he is a ridiculously overrated author, but that's a big thing to say about an author that famous who's, I've only read one of his books, so definitely need to give him a better chance before I can really consistently give that opinion. So I'm going to read The Sound and the Fury, but I'm going to try to give it my best, keep an open mind, but I'm really not looking forward to it. And then the last one that I'm working on right now is Comet in Moominland, and I'm reading that on my phone through the Hoopla app, which is like a library app where you can connect to your local library online. Tried to get it on the Kindle, but the Kindle that we have wouldn't run the Hoopla app. So I'm reading it on my phone, which is not super fun, but I am enjoying the book. I've wanted to read the Moomins for a long time. I read part of one once, Moomin Papa at Sea, and I liked the characters, but I wanted more background because it was further along in the series. Even though the stories are definitely standalone, I was like, okay, I'm supposed to know who all these people are. I'm supposed to have reference for these people. So, yeah, I'm really liking it a lot. I love how it feels like an adult and child novel at the same time. I really feel like she wrote it with the intention of it being for both adults and children. It feels like a book. The writing in particular feels like children are supposed to find it fun and adults are supposed to find it funny. Just the play of words, her names for everything. Also, there are things in it, nothing at all inappropriate, but just things that don't feel like they would normally be in like a children's story. You'd be reading along and then suddenly there's like a reference to something, and you're like, oh, I don't feel like this would be, at least not in a modern children's story. It also feels, she is, what is it Norwegian? No. That's not right. Something more specific. She's like from an island. I knew where she's from at one point, but it's escaping me at the moment. But it definitely, as far as the humor, it feels more British than American for sure. It doesn't feel like does not feel at all like a modern American book for children in any way, and I love that because most modern books for children are awful. So I'm really liking it. I love how it feels like it'd be great to read like with your kids, but also really good for adults and at least partly intended for adults. The characters are fun, the story's fun, the writing's really fun, and I also love that she does the art herself. I'm pretty positive that's true. I should double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's true. I think that is, anytime there's a book that has a lot of illustrations, which this one doesn't have a ton, but there's still enough to make it feel like it adds to the story, and to know that those are hers enhances it all the more. I feel like with little children's books especially, that are mostly pictures, the illustrator is actually telling the story more than the writer and should really get at least equal credit. Again, not so much, this is like a chapter book with a picture here and there, but still, when the author does their own illustrations, it just adds a whole other layer of meaning for me, at least. That I think is really neat, especially since they are really cute and fun illustrations. So, those are the books that I am working on. Hopefully, I'll be reviewing some of them. I don't know if I'm going to review all of these individually, particularly like the mystery ones, unless I really like them or something. But yeah, those are the books that I'm reading right now. Hopefully, I'll be able to talk more about them soon. So, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.